Yes, sir. Live that. S.I.N.Y. KaRasta Music Records. Raggies. Imänefese Qaduse. JAH DREDDZ. Coming through with some good interviews. Live that. S.I.N.Y. Live that. Staten Island, New York. Yes, I represent for my bridge and JAH DREDDZ on the television show. Oh, yeah.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Live That S.I.N.Y, your host, JAH DREDDZ. Once again, we have another banger. We have Imänefese Qaduse in the house.
Yes, sir.
I'm smiling because every time I get your name right,
Yeah.
I get that energy right there. So
Yeah. But you know, I always say Qaduse with most people, and actually I was watching something the other day about African names. Something about that something about the family name is very important, you know.
Right.
So in sense of Qaduse, because even my empress, she used the name Qaduse too, you know, musically as well, you know, niggas near Qaduse.
Right. It's
you know?
crazy because I have two kids, Imani and Iman, that have that first part of your name.
Yeah,
So that's why I
Imänefese.
try to, right.
Yeah. Just to remind people, the name means basically I Holy Spirit or I Holy Spirit, or it can mean from Holy Spirit. In specifics, take away the I part. Memphis or Imänefese means spirit, and Qaduse means holy. So literally in order is saying spirit, which is Memphis or Imänefese, and then Qaduse, which is holy. So it's really saying spirit holy, but that's how they would say Holy Spirit, Memphis Qaduse or Imänefese Qaduse. And then I put the I in front of it. Just to put the I in front for different reasons, because I'm spiritually speaking, the I in front has a lot of significance, you know. But
I'll tell you, 90% of my kids' name begin with the I in front. You know what I'm saying? For that reason right there.
Yeah, there was a lot of significance. And then down the line, someone has shared information with me that in Ethiopia, that's actually a way to write it, which basically means from Holy Spirit.
Right.
And I didn't know that initially. I just put in the I in front for the same reason, really.
Right.
To say that, you know, we're from the Holy Spirit. But when we're going to especially when we're going to the music realms, is a spiritual meditation, you know? It's a spiritual meditation. So that's what it is, you know? That's why we use it as the music name, and we try to live up to that.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
When you walk around,
you definitely get...
That's what you're carrying with you when you walk around. You know what I'm saying? That spirit.
And I'm open to actually getting more names moving forward, like especially when I go to Africa. When we go to Africa, I'm looking forward to get, like in Ghana, I'm sure someone going to give me some name. Because, you know, they just look at you and just say, you know what, this is your name. You know?
Right, it's easier to remember you by, like, okay.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
They look at your spirit and some name comes to mind. Also, I know in Ghana, you also, because you have several names for different reasons. One of your names will be for the day of the week that you was born. You know?
Okay.
I don't remember how it go again, but someone's was showing me that some years ago. Like for every day of the week, there's a name for that. So, you know, most Africans, if not all Africans, have several names, more than those 2 or 3.
Right.
Like they will have like
and
4
it's a
or more.
tradition that should be kept anyway because I guess as the time goes, the names, like I notice a lot of people use some of the same names and it's so confusing. You know what I'm saying? It's like 5 billion Michaels.
But you know, the thing about names, like we're always saying, is that to get away from European names is the whole thing, you know? Or anything that reminds us of European, Caucasian, you know, culture. You know what I mean? Just to regain ourselves, you know, more black. So, like for instance, you know, with Malcolm X, I rather call him El Hajj Malik Shabazz.
Right.
It just sounds better than Malcolm X. But, you know, he was on that meditation already. You know, everybody conscious want to move away from the birth certificate name. Because remember, he's Malcolm Little. Then he's like, you know, a Little ain't my damn name. I don't know what my name is, but then Little, so you just put an X there.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just like Bob Marley. Bob Marley said that Bob Marley is not even my... He said himself, this is not even my name. I don't even know my name yet. That's what he said at that time.
Right.
Me personally, I learned that before he has physically deceased, Bob Marley, that he had... He was baptized in the Ethiopian church, and they gave him the baptismal name Berhan or Berhane Selassie, which means light of the Holy Trinity or light of the Trinity.
Right.
You know, Berhan meaning light, you know, or Berhane.
Because the Bob was from his given name.
Yeah, well, you know what's interesting still, a lot of musicians, including him, the names that they know by, even though it's sort of their real name, it's not really their real name.
Unless they change it. So a lot of them
What
go.
it, you know, is whatever sounds better, and it's the record company that decides that in most cases, or somebody in the business, the producer, because his birth certificate name actually is Nestor
Right.
Robert
Right.
Marley.
Right.
Cause so you know already in the Caucasian world, Robert can be Robbie or Bobby or Rob or Bob
Yeah.
from Robert, you know. So that's where the Bob come
Leave
from.
it at Beaver. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
leave
like,
it. Yeah,
right.
you know, but realistically, that's still his middle name. That's not even his first. His first name is Nestor, but they thought
Right.
Nestor Marley didn't have a ring to it. And then they figure Robert sound too, so what about Bob? Oh, and then people will call him that, you know what I mean? Even,
It's crazy how people put stuff in your head and then it's just like, you know what I'm saying? I wonder, like, a lot of these stars, they go there and they mess up their face or they have these surgeries that they really don't need, but it's really from people talking to them and just pointing out bad, you know what I'm saying,
yeah,
bad things about them, but you gotta have a stronger self-esteem and a self-awareness and a self-pride that when people come to that stuff and say, your nose too big, or this is the, you know what I'm saying? You can laugh it off, you know what I'm saying? It's big for a reason. I use it, you know what I'm saying? It's just other ways to go than conforming to people, other people, basically. Bob Marley, you know, it probably worked for him because that name rings bells.
has more of a rings and bells
Right,
name.
it rings bells right now. I've heard even Marvin Gaye, his original name didn't have the E at the end. And he got teased his whole life that once he got to Motown, he added that E on there so it could, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, either it's the sound of it or the look of it, how it looks.
Right.
Which, this is the thing, you know, we see it from every angle. I mean, for Bob Marley, so-called Bob Marley, which I rather say Berhan Selassie, I'm sure he would rather be known as Berhan Selassie or something more ancient or more ancient spiritual for the fact he in the same mindset of us. So I'm sure he wasn't satisfied with Nestor neither because he never said, Nestor's my real name. He never defended that neither, you know?
No.
He talking from the angle we talking from. We don't even want to identify with this European name. And you can imagine it's even more so for him because remember he coming from a European father, but, you know, a jet black mother, you know? So you can even figure it's probably even more of a thing for him to want to get away from the European name. Even though Nestor kind of sound, you know, different, but he doesn't want that name neither.
Right.
He didn't
What's
want none
the
of his
meaning?
birth
Right.
certificate
What's
name.
the meaning of Nesta? You know what I'm saying?
And
So-
you know, that's why I say he's from the same angle. So you want a name, you know, remember Rastafari is about African and ancient ancient spirituality. So you're going to want a name that really evoking that. You know what I mean? And it's based on what you know. Whether it's English, because before the name Imänefese Qaduse for me, when I first locks, and I saying Rastafari, well, for my young, I looking at Rastafari, but when I start take it like a real serious thing and I laxing up, that's in my early 20s, like once I enter my 20s, really. And then the name I was going by at that time was Flames. At the same time, I wasn't sure about music business, but I definitely didn't want my government name, so I just said my name Flames, like fire.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we just say Flames, because at that time, every Rasta, they calling them fire, 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 fire.
Yeah.
Just the fact they see you, they say fire. Like it's just everybody named Fire. So I say, no, what, I name Flames.
Or JAH, you know what I'm saying?
Well, JAH's the next one. But me,
Yeah.
because for me, right now, you have some people, even if I tell them Qaduse right now, because they was with me between 2000 and 2010
They still
about,
call you the other name.
I'm Flames to them.
Right.
They're like, yo, my name Qaduse now. All right, Flames. So, I mean, Qaduse. I'm like, no problem. You can say Flames. And that's also, you know, Cookie Cup.
Yes.
One of your favorite songs is from a mixtape that I called Murderer Flames, the mixtape.
Right.
I think I talked of it before, but that comes to mind also. You know the reason, a name that is for different reasons. All right. As a teenager, I went by the name Lyrical Murderer.
Right.
You know what I mean? I went through different names. When I started music is 1988 when I 8 years old. You know what I mean? 89, 89, so I'm 8 or 9 them time. I'm my 80s baby, born in the beginning of the year 1980, January 2nd, 1980.
Right.
Is my Earth strong.
All right.
So-
Birthday just passed, young man.
Yeah, I was supposed to be born December 79, but, you know, I
Late.
can't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
came
that's
late.
my life story, you know. I'm
Right,
still
right.
struggling with that. You know, have mercy, please. You know, it's inherited, you know?
Yes, yes.
But, you know, I think our black people suffering from a lot of things. We are suffering from a lot of things, but black people suffering from a lot. I think we all got whatever they call it, PSTD.
Yeah.
We
And,
all in some way have it, and we're coping.
right.
But that's another subject, not to go too much into, but it does connect still.
Everything connects.
Everything
You know what I'm
connects.
saying?
It's life.
And it's better to connect stuff because you have a better understanding of why things go in the way they are.
Yeah. Well, it's important to know yourself and then to know your surroundings and to know what's going on. But in terms of name and nature, it's important, to get away from these European names. Even if you're gonna say just something, that's still good because you're getting away from your European name. Unless you was blessed to have an African name or some ancient name.
Yeah, I think my name is Arabic, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But it's crazy because everybody knows me as JAH from the 90s, in the early 90s, you know what I'm saying? We're in the 2023 right now, so we're talking
That name
at
stick for
least
decades.
30 years, okay? People grandmother called me JAH, okay?
That's your name.
Is I prefer that than somebody just railroading my name. You know what I'm saying? And pronouncing it how they want to pronounce it and adding extra syllables and extra vowels and extra letters or even changing it. You know what I'm saying? JAH to me, you're gonna get my attention every time. But when you say my name, you know what I'm saying, the government name I have and you don't pronounce it right, the JAH comes first every time.
Yeah.
A lot of people refuse to put the JAH first and just drags it. That right there is like somebody in a chalkboard with chalk and just scrape. To me, when I hear that right there,
Irritating to the
it
ears.
pisses me off. You know what I'm saying? It really does. I put up with a lot of mispronunciations over the years because it's just like, oh, okay, everybody does the same thing. But then after a while, it's like, that's not my name. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I go through that all the time. I go Starbucks now. You know how much times I gotta say Qadu, D as in David, USC for Qaduse.
Right.
I just give them Qaduse and they mess it up a lot. You know what is it? You know what it is? Most people when I tell them my name and how they spell it, even you was doing that initially, and I understand this from an English, American, European kind of thing, because most people put Qud. You know what I mean? And then I have to correct them, even though I say QA, but some reason they put QU.
I effed up the whole thing. Okay, I can admit
I could
it.
show you texts from my cousins and certain other people from the past that is the same thing, That's why I understand.
Yeah.
You have to understand. It's better to understand if you can, with people.
Right, and then,
But my name is a little more different than saying with your name, It's kind of more
that's
complex.
why I'm smiling like this when I get the name kind of right. I know I didn't get it perfect.
Well, that's the first name. I don't even give people the first name most times.
Oh, see?
But that's more complex.
Right.
Qaduse or Qaduse is more easy to say, but to spell. You see, the spelling is where most people mess up on. Even with Qaduse, they put Qaduse, Quad.
Right.
One of my cousins was telling me he thinks is when you type it just comes up like that. Once you spell Q, then he puts the U there. Cause
No, that's not in spell check.
that's not in, because I know Qaduse is not an English word or a European
it's
word,
not in spell
especially
check.
the way I spell it. So but to go into the music right now, it's good to prelude the whole thing with the name, because we're visiting some music that is actually not newly recorded or newly released. It's been out there. It's 3 songs we're gonna go through today.
Right.
But it's songs that's from years ago that I've never performed on this platform, neither have I presented it in no other way, performing it or playing
So
it.
it's exclusive.
It's to this show, and I barely promote it even on social media because, tell you the truth, these is earlier works that technically I didn't think, which really, I do know what I'm saying. I'm music from years ago, even our first music release as KaRasta Music Records as available out there, the Book of Ice Project, to be specific. The Book of Ice Project, which was a whole album, my first full-length album, which we're gonna play one song from that, and we've played songs from that album. That album was the book Before Jesus Was Heru, and Seals Azil I've brought on the show before, but Before Jesus Was Heru was like the best sounding track, technically speaking. The other things in terms, technical stuff, studio work, the mixing and the mastering.
Yeah.
A whole lot of technical stuff and situations, how we record it,
before,
so things don't necessarily come out how you planned, and then certain that whole album was supposed to have guest features. Only Geese made it for that. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's why I don't get big up Raggies. Raggies made it for a lot of stuff. Studio sessions plus also shows that we had to do and other things. So
just
that's why
everything, you know what I'm saying? We heard I was sick, just
yeah.
the
So
extra mile for me.
Soja Raggies, you know what I mean? Wherever he at.
Big
You
'em
know,
up.
hold your head up, my brother.
Big 'em up.
You
Bless
know what I
up.
mean? We soon link up. But because he was the only guest artist on that. Even the song he was guest featured on. I never brought it to the show because we wasn't satisfied with that track. But that track was supposed to feature somebody else as well. It was supposed to be 3 people. There's only 2 people on there. So as just to say, the Book
It
Eyes
works out
project,
like that a lot.
yeah, it never came out nowhere like how we wanted it. I tell you the truth again, as I think I said it before, the work that I've done within the last 2 years, because last year, Gregorian year 2022, I didn't record anything. I haven't been to the studio since late 2021, personally. Me
And
and
I
my
think I remember around that time. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Well, you know, all right, to be specific, Campfire, Move the Right Way, Campfire, Oh What Is Time. Those are the tracks that I love mostly than anything else before because technically speaking, they're the best quality sound. If you listen good to the Book of Ice project, it's not leveled. That was the main issue with that. The Before Jesus Was a Rule is the most leveled song. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Everything else is like, it could be better. It sounds like a demo.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I only really featured those tracks that I thought was the best. So Black Like Jesus, I'm telling you the truth, I wasn't sure about that, but somebody shared the YouTube link last night. It's interesting. I was thinking about it, but I wasn't sure. And then this morning I saw somebody shared it. I don't even know the person personally. I recognize his name on my friend list on
So,
social media.
Do you think you're hypercritical of
No, not hypercritical. It's realistic because this is the thing. With music, if you're just an artist, you tend to just think in the creative space alone. But with the business, you gotta think business, and it causes you to think a lot of technical stuff. That's why I say technical.
It's what everything you
Because
do.
yes, because here what happened. You see with the audience now, you got audience like us now. Me as an artist, I'm the same way as an audience member. I don't really care about the technical stuff. As long as I can hear the voice clear and the music good, I don't really care how polished it sounds personally. Me as a listener of music, even I kind of like the stuff that sound raw and rugged, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When it sounds too polished, but then as a business, my brother, big up Colin Forbes, my brother, I barely mentioned him. Big up Daddy, all right, hold on, I gotta big up some people, because even right now, okay, I'm just remembering, today's date is the 25th, I think since yesterday. This week, my dad's book is officially in the stores. I haven't looked though, but I know it was January 23rd or 24th,
Right,
which was
right.
like the last 2 days. The book is officially everywhere now. The book is called Reggae My Life Is. Person's name is my biological father, Copeland Forbes, Copeland, Copeland. But we say Copeland, but it's C-O-P like Cope and land like we land the plane. But one name, Copeland Forbes. Book is called Reggae My Life Is. That's available everywhere now. Yeah.
No, I just want to say.
Hold on. Also, I was saying Colin Forbes. Colin Forbes, that's my brother. Big him up, and big up everybody else. But what are you gonna say?
The one thing I like about you the most is that you're not the nepotism baby. You know what I'm saying? And that's a beautiful thing. Like, you set your own name in stone. You didn't go by,
Well,
you know what I'm saying, the silver spoon that.
No,
Right.
but to keep it balanced and respectful, we wish things wasn't like what it was really, but we have to respect, you know?
Right. Right.
Big up, Daddy. That's all I can say.
I mean, I couldn't really imagine. You know what I'm saying?
Respect,
that's like me
and that's all I
being
can say
born
at
a
this point.
Marley. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I'll tell you something. It's a good thing you mentioned that. Speaking of books, big up Daddy again. Copeland Forbes, Reggae My Life Is. Y'all get the book. If y'all don't know who he is, y'all gonna find him.
You're gonna find out.
You know what I mean? He's a major person in the business. And I'm glad he's getting his flowers and he's alive to get it, honestly, because behind scenes people, they be the ones behind the people that, like, I don't know if he was on camera talking or off camera, but we mentioned Bob Marley. He was on camera?
Yeah.
All right, because we talking before and on. So I'm like, which one did we was talking about Bob Marley. My father managed, for those who don't know, this is sick, because artists can always be somebody new. My biological father, he all right. In the music business, specifically reggae business, he has worn many hats, but you can summarize it to 2 hats, basically. But it's really many hats. But I'll say tour manager and personal artist manager. But in a sense, everything else sometimes, in the past, we're talking.
Right.
You know what I mean? He hasn't done a lot of that stuff in years now. He's more concentrated on his book for years right now. But with Bob Marley, he was tour manager. Like, yeah, the last episode we did, I think we covered that. He was the tour manager
we talked about it.
for Bob Marley. Peter Tosh, he was tour manager plus personal artist manager. But I think it was a tour with Bob Marley back in 1979. You know, Bob Marley, he died, physically passed away 1981. So it was like 79. So I was in my mother's womb in Jamaica that time. My mother come up here pregnant with me. You know what I mean? And so she was pregnant with me during that time period. So it was during that time period, you know. Sometimes I wonder if I was around that Bob Marley or Peter Tosh. To this day, I don't know. After I asked the old man,
You
we
got
never
that
get to
blessing,
see him.
right? You got that blessing. You was around them.
But the mightier blessing is this. I've mentioned it before, but I'm going to mention it again because as an adult, I never knew this. Now, my father is interested, you know. Not to make the interview about him, but he's very interested. And for me to understand why I have certain things in me spiritually, I know it's through him, certain things, you know. Like, he more than met Haile Selassie already, you know. In the visit, when Haile Selassie, Kadamari Haile Selassie Negus Nagas, last emperor of Ethiopia, when he made a state visit to the islands in 1966, he visited Trinidad as well as Jamaica on that journey, and I think Cuba too. But I know definitely Jamaica because my father was chief Boy Scout. I'm not sure if that's the title, but he was Boy Scout, and he had a high position like chief.
Right.
So I had to summarize it to Chief Boy Scout when I talk about it.
Right.
My dad was an interesting person. He had different people visiting his, like they lived in a ghetto, you know, but he had people like political people coming. So I don't know, my dad is a very interesting person, you know. If you ever could interview him, that would be the greatest thing.
Yeah, sure will.
But love and respect is a hard thing to get hold of him. It's more harder than getting a hold of.
I got patience.
Geese is easy compared to him.
I got patience. You know
Patience,
I got
don't wait in
patience.
vain, but big up. But I don't know, but when I go too much,
Things work in mysterious
things happen in mysterious ways,
you
we know.
never
And
know. Right.
I feel like, you know, what's to be is to be. So I live my life like that and I accept certain things. You know, you accept certain things, but with all respect due still. The man, with Haile Selassie, he was his door holder, his door opener.
Right.
So therefore he had to ride with him. You know what I mean? I knew that he held the door, all right, for Queen Elizabeth, I don't remember which one. One of the Queen
Probably
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, the one that just passed away.
More likely it was her. Yes, it was her as a matter of fact. So whether second or whichever one
Not the
that
Queen
is.
Mother.
No. Back in the 60s as well. Not 1966. He was a door holder for her as well. But you know, we praise Haile Selassie, you know, so we say Haile Selassie more, but it was 2 times I know that he held the door for visits of, you know, major people. It was Queen Elizabeth and then also Haile Selassie. But even though, of course, personally for me, you know, learning that as a youth, I didn't know that part with Haile Selassie, that he actually even rode with him, you know, in the vehicle. Which it makes sense.
You'd be surprised. You know
It makes sense, because I knew he held the door, but I didn't understand that that means he rode with him.
Right.
So he was right next to His Majesty, riding with him. So that made me feel like, you know, I got something from that.
Right.
Because I'm the only person that says Rastafari, really, in my immediate family. None of my siblings, my father, neither my mother. Right. You know what I mean? I'm the only one. I got people in my family, but here and there, I'm also in Jamaica that say that. Most of my family is not Rasta. They're the typical Christian or here and there may go church. You know, like most black people.
It's different, right. It was different back then. It was, you know what I'm saying? It was from our ancestors being oppressed here with this Christian Bible that they put on them to make them love their oppressors, the people that had them in slavery, you know what I'm saying? So it was that little twisted thing with church there. And I guess after a while, when it wasn't forced on you to go to church anymore, it's like, I'm not going to church this Sunday. I'm staying, right.
Yeah, but you know, we are certain people, we need to know the truth. And I never dash with the Bible, but we're skeptical of the Bible as well as everything else. You know what I mean? So as from
missing so many books. You know what I'm saying? So many books.
Yeah, it's missing. And then at the top of it now, there's more things. There's a before Bible. Bible is not the beginning and end all. So it's so much things to this truth. So for my young, the music ties into that with me, you know. And we're gonna go into the first song because I know time going to street songs.
Time is blowing. Yeah. But you know what? Big up 2023 because this is the first showing.
Give thanks. Give thanks. You know, live that cine. And y'all look forward to the video. It's definitely going to come this year. It has to come this year.
It better come this year.
Yeah, it's going to come this year. But we're going to go into some songs, as I'm saying. And just to explain again, just to summarize, you know, I'm doing music from 1988, but it wasn't until I say Rastafari that I got unsure about music business, you know.
So did you start with the same music that you're doing now, or did you start like
it
a
was
hip hop
it was
artist?
always. Here's the thing about it, man. Initially, is rap in 1988,
Because you can
1989.
rap.
It started as that, and then 2 years later, it was dancehall. But the dancehall, the people them that I was learning, so understand what I'm saying, I started off rapping.
Right.
And then about 2 years later, around 1990, I added dancehall to it. You know what I mean? And that's because of certain family members. You know what I mean? Certain family members was around me, and I'm like, all right. With the hip hop, it was.
It's a part of growing up, like, especially when you have cousins and family. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all just build off of each other.
But I'm saying that to say that the people, one specific cousin in mind, it was more than one, but one specific cousin in mind. That's what I'm saying. People's idea of dancehall, I give thanks because initially I didn't realize I was given knowledge that a lot of people don't get. My whole life is very interesting because that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I don't separate the truth and culture and Rastafari from hip hop or dancehall. Although when you say hip hop or rap or dancehall now, it seems like, okay, that's not a music that, you know, is like a serious message music, but like the hip hop that we grew up initially listening to was all about serious messages. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that I had all this knowledge spitting in it. I mean, with the rap was most of those rhyming words, and you had to know things. You know what I mean? So the studies was there in the beginning.
Rhyme. You know what I'm saying? It was like the rhyme and the reason for the
rhyme and the reason. You remember like groups like, not to go into all of that, because it's a whole lot of stuff, but it's just to say that when I started off, it was the common thing to be speaking about truths and rights.
Right.
You know, whether you're rapping or whether you're dancehall or whether you're hip hop, it wasn't what it becomes in the 1990s. It's like I caught it right before it was going that way. So my influences was consciousness, and then in my real life around me, in certain cousins, they don't play no slackness. Like, it's consciousness, you know what I mean? Like you know, certain relatives, like, you even more on point when you're around them. Yeah. Like, they help keep you in line, because realistically, I was around a lot of older people. So to be around them, you can't be acting certain kind of ways.
Yeah, you have to be mature.
Yeah, you got to be mature. And they're on levels where they talking of real stuff. So not to say my music was peppered with that, but I always had that consciousness around me. We always had some levels of spirituality. I had a cousin, the same cousin that got me really into dancehall, that I decided to do it. They big him up, David Ashanti Israel. You know what I mean? His name is David, but he say music, his name is David Ashanti Israel. And also big up my cousin Warren. He's the next one as well that we started doing music with. But it's just to say the culture was always there. The truths and rights was always there. And, you know, it was just that. You know, that's all I could say. But let's go into the music. I remember which one is first, but you could go ahead and play it. Yeah. Oh, Black Like Jesus from the Book of Heights project. Available in our stores, streaming.
Hey. Black and we're proud. Black and we're proud. Black and we're proud, proud to be black. Listen, we're black, 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 black like Jesus. Black, 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 black like niggas. Black, 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 black like niggas. Black, black, black like Mary and Jesus. Nappy hair like lamb's wool. Feet like burnt grass. Feet looking like they were burnt in a furnace. Nappy hair like lamb's wool. Sunburned faces. First father and mother were black like outer spaces. We're black, 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 black like niggas. Black, 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 black like Jesus. Black, 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 black like niggas. Black, black, black like Mary and Jesus. Black is the original Israel nation. Black like Egyptian, black like Ethiopian. Black people, original vibration. Soul vibration, holy Mosiah. Black, 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 black like niggas. Black, 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 black like Jesus. We're black, 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 black like niggas. Black, black, black like Mary and Jesus. Nigga and Negro comes from the word Negos. Negos means king just like black Jesus. All of the prophets them black like Jesus. All of the great ones black like Jesus. We're black, 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 black like Negos. Black, 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 black like Jesus. Black, 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 black like Carbon. Black, black, black like great King Solomon. Black and come blue, so we come humble. Black and come blue, so we come. Comely means good looking, so black and comely means black and good looking. So it's tell of play with black, 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 like niggas. Black, 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 black like Jesus. With black, 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 black like niggas. Black, black, black like Mary and Jesus. Hey, oh yeah, yeah. Hey, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey. Black and we're proud. Black and we're proud. Black and we're proud, proud to be black. Again I say, black and we're proud. Black and we're proud. Black and we're proud. And shout it out loud. Burn black is cherry mount, black life. Check the carbon atom, black atom. That is the base of every atom. Every living organism broken down is atom. Look in the high bar, see the black pupil. Black is the base. Look at the outer space. Majority of existence is the blackness. Hear that as mama, sister, and daughter. Hey, hey, hey. Black mother, mother. Out of water we come from. Out of Nile River we come from. Out of black Madonna. Yeah, 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 yeah. Feminine spirit is the blackness. Feminine spirit is the water. Yeah, and that is our mother. Sister another. I look at the nature of the nature. Yeah. Black.
Black like Jesus, black like Jesus, black like Iesus.
Black, black, black.
Black like Negos. Yeah, that song. Big up Followers. Followers sound. He's the producer of that track, aka Rashamu. You have a lot of names, but it's the same Followers. He's the same one. Most of the songs is him produced, you know?
Right, right.
Move the Right Way with Raggies and me. Over This Time. Most of the Book of Heights album is him.
Right.
The next producer was the because there's two producers for that album, but most of the work is Follow. But there was a producer in Europe I had mentioned before. His name is Anu, but he doesn't want nothing to do with music business. He just was a follower of me on SoundCloud and started sending me rhythms a little after I met Follow about nearly a decade ago. So, like his rhythm is he's the one that made the beat for the theme song. S.I.N.Y, Live That S.I.N.Y.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which that beat is on Book of Ice as well album, that same album, but a track called Born Again Well. Yeah, Geese have a song on that beat too, but Geese have a bunch of songs that he's not satisfied with, you know. Geese, talk about critic now. Geese, big up Raw Geese. Raw Geese is Raw Geese. I don't know what to say, best or worst critic. But
I've worked with him out the studio.
All right.
I worked with him as the producer on one of my shows.
Yes.
Off show, and it was like, yo, Ra, I'll shoot straight through. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not a cut person and stop here and stop there and pick up.
You are with Raggies. He have a lot of songs, because like I'm saying, he has a song on that same beat for the theme song. And he have a bunch of other songs, but he not satisfied with none of them. He always feel he could do better. He's a perfectionist, which I don't, when I'm saying that, I'm not saying that to say that's a problem, because I fully understand that.
Right, it's not. I'm
as
a
an
Virgo.
artist.
Like, I'm a Virgo.
All right,
we
so you
seek
understand.
perfection.
Yeah.
I had to learn at an early age there's no such thing. You know what I'm saying?
I beg to differ, as they would say, you know, because it depends on what you mean by perfection. With me, what I feel, which is what I always tell any artist I do a track with, you know, Geese is used to me and me is used to Geese now, but I sure I probably mentioned it to him in the beginning, but I know other artists I mentioned, like, just come from deep within spirit. You know what I mean? And whatever come out, I personally see that as perfection. Whatever's led by the spirit, that's why I take the name I take, because I needed a name that really shows what we're dealing with is spirit. So there's no errors with the spirit. The same mystic we're talking about when we're saying things happen mystically. Right. Even sometimes mistakes you can make turns out mistakes. So I'm not so quick to judge what is not perfect, you know what I mean? Because I do feel, and I would say for sure, without a doubt, just like I know we're sitting here, standing here, I know that perfection does exist. It's just that people's idea of perfection is way off, because our idea of life is way off. Because I'm saying life originally is perfect. And I want to go into even saying about that word perfect. If you break it down, you can say it's 2 words, you know. It's pure, because when I write it where you can see the word basically pure effect, meaning the effect of pure. And if you look at the word pure, P-U-R-E is the same word as F-I-R-E, as well as the same word as P-O-W-E-R. Pure,
F-I-R-E is fire.
fire, and power.
Right.
It's the same word linguistically, you know. The word pure is the same word as fire, is the same word as power. Linguistically, it's the same meaning broken down, you know. Etymology-wise, it's the same thing you're going to come to is the whole idea of fire, which is power. You know what I mean? Because remember, the light turn on, but light is because of fire. That sun is electric. You know what I mean? So it's just to say pure effect now. Effect is the result of something. It's a cause and effect. If we're going to use the language of God and creation, I say that we're part of creation as children of so-called God, as well as just part of creation, being created beings. If we're going to say God, then we would say that God is the cause, and we as part of creation is the effect. You know what I mean? So to know that, now where does the fire come in now? If you look at creation process, you know, the fire was there for creation to start. I put it like this, you know. Bullets shoot you. Because when somebody shoots, it's the shot that shoots you, you know. It's not really the person so much, though they have something to do with it. It's not even really the gun, because a person, okay, you say so-and-so shot somebody. Okay, but without a gun, they didn't shoot the person. Okay, them have a gun, but without a bullet, there's no shot in it. So even if them have a gun, no shot, or something wrong with the gun, it's the shot do the damage. So I'm saying that to say this now. Is the shot. Just like if you cut
somebody had to pull the trigger.
Somebody had to pull the trigger, but the point I'm making is connecting up with what actually does the damage. And not to talk about damage, but just follow the meditation. Just like the shot is the shot that shoot. Just like the knife, no. Same idea. And I'm going to say the same thing with fire. Fire is the creator, is what I'm going to the point of saying, you know. Fire is the creator. Now, people think creator means somebody like me and you with hands making something, but realistically, do we really think that creation was created by hands? No, we know that it says in the beginning was the word, right?
Before my time, actually. So
we say before our time, but you're saying that somebody, according to when you came out your mother's womb, that's when your memory is starting. You was alive in your mother's womb, and before you was conceived, where were you?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's good for us to identify.
I'm not saying it started once I was born, because a lot of times, you know what I'm saying, we soak up stuff while we're being carried. You know what
exactly. And that's the thing. We need to get deeper and beyond immediate sight with our understanding, because that's why personally I don't hold to birthday, you know. Personally, I don't really hold to birthday so much.
I say every day is your birthday. You know what I'm saying?
In a sense, but even if you're going to talk about birthday, that's the time when you came out the port. Well, you know, birth is about coming out the water. It's like seaport.
Canal. You came through the birth canal.
And it's out of water you come, because the idea of port is just like seaport.
Right.
You know what I mean? Seaport, or even airport. The whole idea of port. Any city named port, whatever. Port this, port that, this port, that port. Is dealing with the water and coming out the water, because B-I-R-T-H, birth, is the same word as port. Right. P-O-R-T, which is the same word as portal, is the same word as door. D-O-O-R. It's the same word. Now I want to go forward again, or back to the whole thing about fire is the creator. What we see as the fire is not even it, you know, it's the energy. Energy is invisible. Everything we see physically, everything that we sense with our physical senses is appearance. It's really invisible energy.
But it'll burn the hell out your ass.
Yeah. That's why you hear the term ether. Ether refers to that energy. Ether. Right. And if you look at the word earth, these words connect. Ethiopia, earth. When you say Ethiopia, just look at Ethi, because Opia refers to the eye. The eye is them, you know, the eye, Opia. But Ethi, the whole word of Ethi, just like ethics and ethereal, and it's all ether. You know, earth, Ethiopia, ether.
I don't know.
Eh? Yeah. But in terms of creation, earth, so it's just to say again, the fire is the creator, you know. Just like the knife cuts and the bullet shoot, the fire creates. You know what I mean?
only could disagree with you with that, because if the knife stabbed a person, they would be more.
Hear what I'm saying, you know.
Upset with
Hear what I'm saying, you know. Hear what I'm saying, you know. Hear what I'm saying, you know. That plays a role, but the thing that is just like this: you cooking the food. Yes, you cooking the food, but if we're gonna really get down to it, remember, we have first of all, this is how we have to think. You know, we have to think in polarity. A lot, us people, we tend to think on in one aspect, without thinking the next aspect at the same time. Just like if you talk to somebody in Africa right now, in Europe right now, is if it's nighttime over here, it's daytime over there right now, and vice versa right now.
Right.
So it's to remember that right now on Earth right now, there's no right now that this doesn't apply. Every right now is daytime, every right now is nighttime on Earth. And to think that we're on Earth before thinking a certain part of Earth is good, because it gets us more into that creation mind that we part of Earth. So your daytime is really a perception and your nighttime is really a perception. Now you start thinking more like I'm in space. This is not make-believe, this is reality. But most of our thinking is not along that line. And I'm saying the reason we have to think, again, you know, I said invisible energy is the thing, you know. The fire is not, what we see as fire, just like the fire cook your food, you know.
Right.
Right? The invisible energy, we have to understand how things, by the time your physical senses see something or sense something, because you see our language is so, people living so much on our level, that's why even, it's a way to really, I try to explain this thing, because if we need to think as energy, invisible with no concept at all, first and foremost, and then manifest. You see that energy without no name, no concept whatsoever, that's what you're calling God. So
Okay.
God is literally in the fire, but I don't like using that term. This is why when our ancestors use terms like nature, it's more kaneko,
Nature.
which is where you get the English word nature from, and even
Nurture,
Orisha.
right.
Because Orisha have to do with the head, the mind. Oh, and speaking on that too, a lot of things connect, you know, because the sun is so important, you know. That's not a new topic, that's the topic that we're on. This the fire nature, just like I call the album Fire Nature, the EP I have, next EP. I'm not playing that today, but I played that before and performed songs before. That's Cafeteria, King Ori, and those tracks on it. Fire Nature, the 4-song EP. That, you see, fire is so important because the sun is fire, and that centers us, but then the fire in the center of the earth is fire too. Even before the name we call in sun and calling magma and lava, we have to understand is fire. You know what I mean? And fire is the father and is the creator.
Right.
It is the creator. So many things I could show to say that it's the same thing. Fire is the creator, creator is fire. If you study any indigenous culture, whether it's Africa or America or whatever, you know, original, millions of years ago, even thousands of years ago, but definitely millions of years ago, you find proof that this was the thinking. We see the fire as a creator, but when we say see, our people wasn't stuck on the surface, you know. You know what I mean? We was in tune with spirit more so. So it's not what you see visually, it's what you see inside of what you see, you know? It's what we identify first with,
Right.
not second with. It's like in this world we say that we in this world people act like physical trying to be spiritual, when you really spirit experiencing physical. But because everything vice versa, you know, it's like the other way around now. We're trying to be something that we already was originally. And then we're in a system that emphasizes material so much. Whether it's the cost of food or the cost of whatever the cost of. Because some places the food is free. In terms of, like one time we was talking, you say, yes, in Florida you can pick from a tree, but if it's not one thing, it's another thing. The whole life is not free. Some places is better. Even when I go to Africa, I know there's going to be issues there. Nowhere is heaven on earth right now because our minds is still not fully spiritual like it was once upon a time, you know. Because this thing is very deep. I feel like I've gone enough into meditation where, you see, this is the thing, you know, realistically, people have to, I mean, it's good if you can plan a vacation and you could just go there spiritually with your herb and whatever. Because if you don't, you still have to go take time away from other things.
They need that.
Because we all need that, and I've personally done that, but that requires sacrifice in certain other things. Even sometimes job. You know what I mean? A lot of our basic day-to-day responsibilities, in that sense, it kind of obstruct our spiritual growth because
It wears us down. It wears you out.
because you're focusing on physical. Because the cost of life is dealing with physical. It's not the cost of spirit. It's the cost of physical things. Your needs and your necessities, food, clothes, and shelter, and everything else is physical things. You know what I mean? It's not like we even living like you're farming. Because if you're farming, it's a spiritual meditation. Unless you're thinking about profits. You see, once you're thinking about profits, meaning not profit that speak the word that's to come, but the profit meaning monetary, you know? So it becomes a focus on the physical aspect. And I want to say this as well. Keep in mind the word atom, A-T-O-M, because everything is atoms naturally. And people talk about negative and positive. When you look at the atom, the center is 3 charges. It's not 2 charges. It's neutral and positive and then negative. The neutron is the neutral. Neutral, neutron, positive proton is the center. right? Just like the fire is the center, and then the external is what they call the electron, which is the negative. And the electron, therefore the electric. You know what I mean? So the outer of, and see, this is our energy, but we'd have to realize then the physical appearance definitely is the negative. Because it's the outer, it's the external. Anybody look at the image, get certain basics is good to know. It's good to study Kemet, K-E-M-A-T, you know, ancient Egypt. And it's good to study Christianity, but if you study Christianity, you must study that. And to understand society, it's good to study those things, but it's good to study everything, but just to give some things to start off on as basics. You don't have to know everything about all these things. I don't know everything of everything I speak, but the basics I get, because the first thing you have to do is really identify with spirit more than anything else, you know? Right. And I find that so important, but spirit to the levels of timeless. Like how I get songs like, oh, what is time? It's from going those places. You know what I mean?
Oh, what is time?
But time is running in the physical world. We go to the next track. Yeah, senseless violence. Senseless violence needs to stop. As the guns pop, another body drop. Senseless violence needs to stop. Hey, every day you're rat-tat-tat-tat-tat. Senseless violence needs to stop. Blood spilling and killing over what? Senseless violence needs to stop. Hey, we don't want no more of that. Senseless violence needs to stop. As the guns pop, another body drop. Senseless violence needs to stop. Hey, every day you're rat-tat-tat-tat-tat. Senseless violence needs to stop. Blood spilling and killing over what? Senseless violence needs to stop. Hey, we don't want no more of that. Senseless violence needs to stop. Too much war and crime, too much death happening in these hot times. Cold-blooded murder, some minds need to get refined. Check yourself, stop killing off your own kind. Stop shedding your brothers and your sisters' blood. Stop shedding your brothers and your sisters' blood. Better just love, 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 God. Senseless violence needs to stop. As the guns pop, another body drop. Senseless violence needs to stop. Hey, every day you're rat-tat-tat-tat-tat. Senseless violence needs to stop. Blood spilling and killing over what? Senseless violence needs to stop. Hey, we don't want no more of that. Senseless violence needs to stop. As the guns pop, another body drop. Senseless violence needs to stop. Hey, every day you're rat-tat-tat-tat-tat. Senseless violence needs to stop. Blood spilling and killing over what? Senseless violence needs to stop. Hey, we don't want no more of that. Yo, better to keep a cool head. Hey, better keep a cool head. Yo, no need to get so hot head. No need to get so hot head. Lisa, better to keep a cool head. Level. Else you may do something that you later regret. Else it's hospital bed, just dead. Else it's hospital bed, just dead. Senseless violence needs to stop. As the guns pop, another body drop. Senseless violence needs to stop. Like, every day you're rat-tat-tat-tat-tat. Senseless violence needs to stop. Blood spilling and killing over what? Senseless violence needs to stop. Hey, we don't want no more of that. Senseless violence needs to stop. As the guns pop, another body drop. Senseless violence needs to stop. Hey, every day you're rat-tat-tat-tat-tat. Senseless violence needs to stop. Blood spilling and killing over what? Senseless violence needs to stop. Hey, we don't want no more of that. Senseless violence needs to stop. As the guns pop, another body drop. Yeah, you know, senseless violence produced by KaRasta, same with KaRasta sound. Yeah, but you know,
very positive message. I want to make sure we get the. You got one more song, right? I want to make sure we get that before we start.
Yeah. Well, we can just go right into the next one. Red Alert, produced by KaRasta sound as well.
Judgment. 1,000 years is as a J to the most ones. Lamentation in the earth, red alert, red alert, red alert, red alert, red alert, red alert, red alert. Judgment in the earth, red alert, red alert, red alert, red alert, red alert, red alert, red alert. Judgment in the earth, red alert. And it's written that the judgment red alert. And the moon shall become red alert. And the high alert color red alert. And the highest color red alert. Check the traffic signal red alert. Check the Ghana flag red alert. Check the original Ethiopian flag red alert. Check the Argo spectrum red alert. And the highest color red alert. Color with the longest wavelength red alert. And the king come dressed in red alert. And his eye color flaming red alert. Red alert, red alert, red alert, red alert, red alert, red alert. Judgment in the earth, red alert. Since Gentiles around Jerusalem, red alert. The world in a bigger problem, red alert. So-called Jewish settlement, red alert. They claim the land belongs to them, red alert. They claim Yahweh promised it unto them, red alert. But the Arabs were there before them, red alert. The black Israelites even before them, red alert. The black Sheikhs even before them, red alert. Yes, the Ethiopians before them, red alert. Ask them who built up Jerusalem, red alert. A set of black people God's chosen, red alert. Well, who are these Caucasians who came in, red alert? Claiming Judah, claiming Benjamin, red alert. When Judah and Benjamin were black skin, red alert. Give some cats of wolves in sheep clothing, red alert. Some ravening wolves in sheep clothing, red alert. The world they talking about this armament, red alert. Tell them go check Israel's basement, red alert. Who stockpile of nuclear weapons from when, red alert. One of them old blue that will sell on them, red alert. Other type of blue that will sell on them, red alert. And for 80 years they imprison him, red alert. Call him a traitor and they brutalize him, red alert. The world they talking about this armament, red alert. Tell them go check Israel's basement, red alert. Who stockpile of nuclear weapons from when, red alert. They say my enemies must meet their two ends, red alert. See who's the enemy, see who's friend, red alert. And they claim Jerusalem belongs to them, red alert. And in this world every start has an end. Better know, judgment. Red alert, red alert, red alert, red alert, red alert, red alert, red alert. Judgment in the earth, red alert. I hope you get what I'm saying, red alert. Ain't no joke, ain't playing, red alert. What you wanna take the microchip, red alert. Better get out of Sin City quick, red alert. Cause that damn Sin City will sink, red alert. On sinking sand is what built red alert. Red alert, red alert, red alert, red alert, red alert.
Song Red Alert, that's the first release we ever released on the KaRasta Music Records.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. If you look at the cover artwork, it's not so good, you know? It's very chaka. I mean, if you look at it, it's appreciated, but if you study it, it's not so...
That's only because you say that. You know what I'm saying? Outside looking in, it might be...
Yeah,
right.
I'm talking technically.
Right, but still, you know what I'm saying?
You know, that's why I say that. As an artist, it's different arts because business-wise, I'm studying the technical things, you know? And we know what we try to do and all that. But I know from the outside, as they say, looking in, meaning the audience, you know, they're appreciating it. Because one thing I do know, you see, once you put good ingredients in something, the pull-off may not come exactly like how you want it to pull off or present it, you know? But I'm sure about the ingredients, like the ingredients in the music, lyrically, the ingredients in the instrumental, and the ingredients in the visual art, whether it's a cover artwork or even a video. you know? Because we think conceptual, you know? We think deep, so, you
Let me
know?
just tell you, that
You know?
producer right there.
Follow our song. Same one follow these tracks.
That producer right there,
Yeah.
because a lot of times I hear these productions is like, peace out,
Yeah.
the artist is over here, the production is over here.
yeah.
That production is like this, you know what I'm saying?
Follow us. I hope
Right.
you hear that, you know?
Right.
Yeah, he the one that, those 3 tracks today is all him, and he's the same one for, but like I said now, chronologically, these, all right, I'm going to give you the order now. Red Alert was recorded as well as released 2015. And that was our first official release underneath KaRasta Music Records, me and Follow Russ. That time was Rassama Selassie. We only have a few minutes and change?
Yeah, man.
All right, speed up to the point. Well, big up Follow Russ sound. And y'all check out those songs on streaming platforms.
Right.
As well as, but I want to say that, you know, that's why I said the songs we recorded and done within the last 2 years and released, like the Move the Right Way. And like, I'm so satisfied with Move the Right Way, the song. The video, not so much, but that's another story. Because the same thing I'm saying, we knew what we wanted to do.
I like the song with Ken Fire also, you know what I'm saying?
Well, no, that's Gee's, no, discrepancy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's why I understand Gee's, because, but you're artist too, so you must understand the critique of self. It's not too much. At least with me, I know it's not too much, because I appreciate raw. Like, I release music, all right, realistically, all right, some music I release is not really, it wasn't really mastered, you know. I just run it through automated mastering. And that's it. Judges.
Yes,
Boom,
big
boom,
up.
boom.
Bless up. Yeah,
All music streaming, even this song, get it on all streaming platforms. Live That S.I.N.Y, everywhere. All music, all platforms, including the theme song for this show. Raggies, JAH DREDDZ. Big up Kenny, the engineer. Show is not possible without the engineer, you know? Just like in studio.
Yes.
Engineer, big up all engineers. We love y'all people. Producers and engineers. Rastafari.
Yeah, we're bringing it straight to you. Still under the sun, nothing new. Just the ancients reveal to you. Prophecy speaks to you. Live that S.I.N.Y. Live that S.I.N. Hallelujah. Yes, I represent for my Virgin JAH DREDDZ on the television show. Oh, yeah, you don't know I won't. Live that S.I.N.Y. Live that S.I.N. Hallelujah. Yes, I represent for my Virgin JAH DREDDZ on the television show. Oh, yeah, you don't know.
It was Richmond Island, 1661. Still mystical, still holding strong. Consolidated 1898. Just think the other boroughs, let's celebrate. We had the ferry built 1817. You needed up the Hudson, don't worry, we'll get it in. Yeah, trading never dead, that mean it's still alive. We had a name change, 1975. So much history, it goes on and on. You gotta link churches just to know what they want. You from any other boroughs or you from out of town? You say in S.I.N.Y, I know you ain't a clown.
Live that S.I.N.Y. Live that S.I.N. Hallelujah. Yes, I represent for my Virgin JAH DREDDZ on the television show. Oh, yeah, you don't know I won't. Live that S.I.N.Y. Live that S.I.N. Hallelujah.